It's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're sitting at your desk, or maybe you're stuck in traffic, or you're just standing in the kitchen trying to figure out what to eat for lunch, and your phone buzzes. It is that specific vibration, the one you know all too well. It is the bank notification. You glance down, half expecting the usual anxiety spike, but instead you see something different. You see a confirmation that a large chunk of money just left your account, or maybe, just maybe, you see the notification that the final balance is zero. The car is yours. And in that split second, the air in the room feels different. It is lighter. You take a breath, and for the first time in 5 years or 6 years, or however long you've been shackled to this monthly payment, your chest does not feel that subtle, constant tightness. You walk out to the driveway, and you look at your car. It is the same car. It has got the same dent in the bumper from that grocery store parking lot incident 3 years ago. It has got the same scratch on the rim. It smells faintly of old coffee and that specific vanilla air freshener you buy in bulk. But it is not the same car, is it? Because yesterday, you were renting it from the bank. Today, you own it. And that thought, that realization, it hits you in a way you did not expect. It is not just about the money. It is about the psychological weight that just evaporated. I remember that feeling vividly. I remember standing in my own driveway, staring at the headlights, and realizing that I had been functioning at a deficit for so long that I forgot what it felt like to operate at a surplus. My name is Mac, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others stay stuck in the same financial patterns for decades. And let me tell you, paying off a car loan is not just a transaction. It is a complete rewiring of your brain's operating system. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. The moment that final payment clears, everything changes. Your relationship with time changes. Your relationship with risk changes. Even your personality shifts a little bit. And if you aren't ready for it, if you do not understand the psychology of what comes next, you are actually in danger of sliding backward. But if you harness it, it is the first domino in a chain reaction that changes your entire life. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why the world looks different from the driver's seat of a paid-off car. The first thing that happens is honestly a little disorienting. It is what I call the phantom paycheck. For years, you have structured your life around a missing piece. You knew that on the 3rd of the month, or the 15th, or whenever your auto debit hit for $100, $500, $600, maybe even $800 just vanished. That was just the cost of admission to being a functioning adult. You budgeted around that hole in your bucket. And now, suddenly the hole is gone. The first month after I paid off my car, I remember checking my banking app and feeling a genuine spike of panic. I looked at the balance and I thought something is wrong. Did I forget a payment? Did the system glitch? It felt like I had stolen something. It felt like I had way too much cash sitting there for the middle of the month. That feeling is what I am calling the phantom paycheck. It is an immediate, visceral raise in your disposable income. We're not talking about a theoretical raise where your boss promises you more money next year. This is cash flow. Real, liquid cash flow that hits your account right now. And it is powerful. See, most of us, we live in this state of high-level financial background noise. We are constantly doing mental math. Can I go out to dinner tonight? Well, I have to leave room for the car payment, so maybe just appetizers. Can I buy those shoes? I have to make sure the car payment clears first. When that noise stops, the silence is deafening. You have to relearn how to exist without that threat hanging over you. It is like walking around with a heavy backpack for 5 years and suddenly taking it off. You feel so light you might just float away. You find yourself walking a little taller, sitting a little straighter. You make eye contact with people differently. It is weird, right? It is just a car. It is just metal and rubber. But it is not. It is the manifestation of your labor. When you own that vehicle, you aren't working 20 hours a month just to keep the bank happy. You're working 100% for yourself. That changes the texture of your day. The commute to work feels different. You're not driving a debt mobile. You're driving your own asset. You feel a sense of sovereignty. It is a small kingdom, sure, but it is yours. But here's where things get tricky. Because humans are notoriously bad at dealing with sudden windfalls, even windfalls we created ourselves. If you do not catch yourself, The second phase after paying off a car loan is a dangerous one. Is the new car fever. See, the car industry is smarter than us. They know exactly when your loan is up. They have algorithms. About 3 months before that final payment drops, your mailbox starts filling up. Your email starts pinging. Congratulations! You're eligible for a new vehicle. Trade in your aging model for 0 down. They play on your insecurity. They show you shiny pictures of touchscreen dashboards and heated leather seats. They whisper in your ear that your current car, the one that is perfectly fine, is suddenly old. It is outdated. It is a liability. And you poor thing, you deserve something new. You have worked hard. Treat yourself. This is the test. This is the moment that separates the people who build wealth from the people who just stay on the hamster wheel. I have a friend. Let us call him Dave. Dave paid off his truck. He was ecstatic. We went out for beers to celebrate. He talked about how he was going to invest the extra money, how he was going to take a trip. 2 weeks later, I am driving past the dealership, and I see him walking out with a set of keys to a brand new SUV with a moonroof and a payment that was $150 higher than his last one. Why? Because he got scared of the extra money. He did not know what to do with a phantom paycheck, so he traded it for a familiar burden. He traded freedom for a shiny new cage. This is lifestyle creep. It is insidious. It tells you that since you have extra money, you need to spend it to upgrade your life. But paying off a car is not a signal to upgrade your expenses. It is a signal to upgrade your peace of mind. When you fall into the trap of trading in a paid-off car for a new loan, you aren't just resetting your financial clock. You're actively choosing to rent your life from a corporation for another 6 years. You are saying, I do not trust myself to do something smarter with this $500 a month, so please take it from me. You have to resist this. You have to look at that paid-off car in the driveway, the one with the scratch on the bumper, and see it not as a clunker, but as a battle trophy. It is a badge of honor. Every dent is a memory. Every mile is money you did not give to the bank. When you keep a paid-off car instead of trading it in, you are engaging in a radical act of rebellion against a consumer culture that wants you to forever be in debt. Let us dig a little deeper into this, because the shift in psychology here is massive. When you have a car loan, even if you do not realize it, you have what I call a rentier mentality. You are a renter of your own life. You might have the title in the glove box, sort of, but the bank owns the experience. You are terrified of a scratch. You are hyper-aware of the mileage. You feel this weird sense of imposter syndrome, like you're driving someone else's property and they're going to be mad if you get crumb on the seat. But once that loan is gone, the psychological flip is intense. You start caring a little less about the superficial stuff. I remember I spilled coffee in my car about a week after I paid it off. Before, I would have panicked. I would have stopped immediately, grabbed napkins, cursed myself, worried about the trade in value, worried about the smell ruining the resale price. But this time, I just grabbed a napkin, wiped it up as best I could, and kept driving. I thought, it is my car. It smells like coffee now. That is fine. That is the sound of freedom. It is a small thing, honestly. It is just coffee. But it represents a shift from preserving value for someone else to enjoying value for yourself. When you own the asset, you use the asset. You aren't preserving it for the next owner. You're using it for your life. You take that road trip that puts 3,000 miles on the odometer because you want to see the ocean, not because you're worried about going over your lease limit. You throw the bike in the back without worrying about scratching the interior plastic. This ownership mentality starts to bleed into other areas of your life, too. Once you have tasted ownership of a major asset like a vehicle, you start looking around your house. You look at your furniture. You look at your debt. You start thinking, wait, if I can own the car, what else can I own? You stop seeing yourself as a temporary manager of your life and start seeing yourself as the architect of it. It changes how you walk through the world. You become a little more grounded. You become a little less susceptible to the shiny object syndrome because you understand the value of kept resources versus new resources. You realize that the peace of mind that comes with ownership is worth far more than the fleeting dopamine hit of a new car smell. Okay, so we have talked about the feeling. We have talked about the psychology. Let's get practical, because everything changing after paying off a car loan is not just about vibes. It is about math. The most powerful thing that changes is your savings potential. And here's the concept that I want you to lock onto. Inverted savings. Most people try to save money at the end of the month. They pay the rent, pay the car, pay the insurance, buy the groceries, go out to dinner a few times, and then, if there's anything left, they move it to savings. We all know how that story ends. There is never anything left. But paying off a car flips this equation on its head. That monthly payment is a predetermined savings amount that you are already hitting. You were already finding a way to live without that $500 because you had to give it to the bank. So, the strategy is simple. Keep making the payment. Just make it to yourself. When that loan clears, you set up an automatic transfer for that exact same amount, $500, $600, whatever it was, to move from your checking account to your investment account or savings account the exact same day the old auto debit used to hit. Do not wait. Do not let the money sit in your checking account. If it sits there, it disappears. It evaporates into takeout, Amazon packages, and weekend trips that you will barely remember. By moving it immediately, you are tricking your brain. Your brain is already used to operating without that money. You have already tightened your belt to accommodate that outflow. You are just changing the beneficiary. You are changing the recipient from Big Bang Corp to future you. And when you do this, the compounding effect is terrifyingly fast. Let us say you were paying $500 a month. That is $6,000 a year. If you put that into a decent investment account, and let us be conservative and say it gets a 7% return in 10 years, that extra money turns into over $100,000. Think about that. One decision, just deciding not to upgrade your car, just deciding to keep the one you have, and you have funded a massive chunk of your retirement, or a down payment on a house, or your kid's college fund. That is the turning point. That is where everything changes, becomes literal. You stop being a consumer of debt and start being a producer of wealth. It is a quiet revolution that happens in your spreadsheet, but it reverberates through your entire life. Now, I want to be real with you for a second. I do not want to paint a picture that is purely sunshine and rainbows. There's a shadow side to paying off a car that catches people off guard. It is the maintenance versus payment shift. When you have a car loan, the car is usually new, or at least newer. You have a warranty. Things generally do not break. You just pay for gas and insurance and oil changes. It is predictable. It is a fixed cost. When you pay off a car, you generally intend to keep it for a while. That means the car is getting older. And as cars get older, they get persnickety. They start to demand attention. You might go 6 months with no car payment, and you're feeling great. You are saving that $500. You're feeling rich. And then, thump, your transmission starts slipping. Or the AC compressor dies in the middle of July. Or the check engine light comes on, and it is something expensive that involves removing the entire engine block to fix. Suddenly, you are hit with a $1,200 repair bill. I have seen people completely lose their minds over this. They get angry. They say, see, this is why I need a new car. I am just throwing money into this pit. But stop. Breathe. Let's do the math. A $1,200 repair bill feels like a lot because it is a lump sum. It hurts. It is an acute pain, but compare that to a new car payment. If you're paying $500 a month, that is $6,000 a year. If you spend $1,200 on repairs this year, even if you spend $2,500 on repairs this year, you are still way ahead of the game. You have to shift your mindset from monthly payment mode to annual cost mode. When you own a car, you're your own insurance company for mechanical breakdowns. You have to self-insure. That is what that savings account is for. When I paid off my car, I opened a separate sub-savings account called car maintenance. I took $100 a month from my car payment money and put it in there. When the tires needed replacing, I did not blink. I just pulled the money out. No stress. No credit card debt. This is the transition from a renter to an owner. Renters call the landlord when the toilet breaks. Owners fix the toilet. It is more work, yes, but it is your house. Same with the car. It is more hassle to deal with repairs, but it is your money staying in your ecosystem. You are paying a mechanic, not a finance company. You are supporting a local business, not a Wall Street executive. There's a certain dignity in that. Let's zoom out for a moment. We have talked about the money, the psychology, the repairs. But the biggest change, the one that really matters, is what I call optionality. Debt, is the enemy of options. When you have a $600 car payment, you're not free to make certain choices. You cannot easily take a lower-paying job that might be more fulfilling or offer better hours. You cannot take a sabbatical to write that book or travel or help a sick family member. You're on the treadmill. You have to keep running at that specific speed to keep from falling off. When that debt is gone, the treadmill slows down. You can step off to the side for a moment. I remember a few years back, I was working in a job that was, let's just say it was not great. It was draining. I wanted to leave, but I was terrified. I looked at my budget, and the car payment was this anchor. If I quit, how would I pay it? Once I paid off the car, the equation changed completely. My survival number, the amount of money I needed to bring in every month to keep the lights on, dropped by hundreds of dollars. That lowered the threshold for what I was willing to accept in my life. It gave me leverage. I walked into work differently. I was not desperate. I did not have that sweaty palm feeling on Sunday night, knowing I had to go back. Everything changes because your relationship with risk changes. When you have fewer fixed obligations, you can take more calculated risks. You can start that side business. You can go back to school. You can ask for that raise. Optionality is the ultimate luxury. Rich people do not just buy expensive things. They buy the freedom to say no. Paying off your car is the first step toward buying that freedom. It is the entry-level ticket to the club of people who do things because they want to, not because they have to. Think about that. Think about how many decisions you have made in the last 5 years that were influenced by that monthly bill. Where you live, what you eat, how often you go out, the jobs you have taken. It has all been filtered through the lens of I have to pay for the car. Take the car out of the equation, and suddenly the lens clears. You can see other paths. You can see yourself. This brings me to the final, and perhaps most profound, change. The identity shift. We live in a world where we are constantly told that we are what we drive. Advertisements spend billions of dollars linking our self-worth to the badge on the grill of our car. Drive this truck, and you are rugged and capable. Drive this sports car, and you are successful and sexy. Drive this luxury sedan, and you have arrived. When you pay off a loan, and especially if you decide to keep that car for the long haul, you're breaking that contract. You're opting out of the status game, and that can be uncomfortable. I had a moment a few months ago. I pulled up to a nice restaurant. I was driving my 10-year-old paid-off sedan. I parked it next to a brand-new Porsche. For a second, I felt small. I felt that old pang of insecurity. What must people think of me? I'm a grown man. Should not I have something newer? But then I caught myself. I looked at the Porsche and I thought, I wonder what his payment is. I wonder if he's stressed about his lease. I wonder if he's actually happy or if he is just driving a rolling monthly bill. I walked into the restaurant with a smile on my face. I ordered a nice bottle of wine without looking at the price. Why? Because I am not paying $800 a month to the bank. That $800 is mine. I am drinking it. I'm investing it. I am enjoying it. I realize that my identity is not tied to the car. It is tied to the freedom. My worth is measured in my options, not my obsessions. When you pay off your car, you stop performing for an audience that is not watching. Nobody cares about your car as much as you do. Most people are too busy worrying about their own car payments to notice yours. You step off the stage. You stop acting. You start living. And that, honestly, is the most liberating feeling in the world. You become the kind of person who values substance over style. You become the kind of person who values peace over flash. And when you start making decisions based on peace, your whole life gets quieter. The chaos dial turns down. You sleep better. You argue less with your spouse about money because a huge chunk of the money arguments revolve around these big fixed costs. So let us circle back. The script, the story. You're standing in the driveway. The car is paid off. What happens next? It is a ripple effect. It starts with the cash flow. It moves to the psychology. It changes how you view ownership. It forces you to confront the difference between maintenance and payments. It gives you options. And finally, it reshapes your identity. It is not just about a car. It has never been about the car. The car is just the catalyst. When you pay off that loan, you're proving to yourself that you can finish something you started. You're proving that you can defeat a long-term goal. You are proving that you have the discipline to delay gratification. That discipline, that confidence, it spills over. If I can conquer the car, what else can I conquer? The credit cards? The student loans? The mortgage? Suddenly, the mountain of debt that looked insurmountable starts to look climbable. You have summited one peak. You have got the gear. You have got the legs. You can see the next peak, and you know you can take it. Everything changes because you change. You stop being a debtor. You become a builder. Look, life is going to keep throwing curveballs at you. Prices will go up. Jobs will change. Cars will break down. That is just the reality of living in a material world. But you have a choice in how you navigate that reality. You can choose the constant stress of the monthly payment, the never-ending cycle of upgrades, the shiny new cage that looks like freedom but feels like a prison. Or you can choose the quiet, unsexy, deeply profound power of ownership. Paying off your car loan is not the end of the journey. It is barely the beginning, but it is the spark. It is the moment where you grab the steering wheel, literally and metaphorically, and decide where you want to go, not where the bank wants you to go. So if you're watching this and you're staring down that last payment, or you're just thinking about starting to pay extra, do it. Take the leap. It feels impossible until you do it. And then, one day, you'll get that notification. You will walk out to the driveway. You will look at that beat-up, scratch-covered, beautiful machine, and you will realize you are free. And honestly, there is no feeling in the world quite like it. Now, go enjoy the drive. You earned it.